I don't want to sound like a hater, but Francis Ngannou getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua last night is the best thing to happen to boxing. The best thing to happen to boxing. I'm going to give you a few reasons why and my opinion on the fight and why it's a good thing. But first, be sure to subscribe, guys. I'm the MMA Casual. I talk everything MMA, UFC, and combat sports in general. I appreciate the follows and your comments below. I want to know what you guys think about these type of fights, but I'm going to go right into it. Personally, I've never been a fan of gimmick fights in general, right? You cannot tell me that a mixed martial artist is going to be successful in the boxing ring, because a boxer is a boxer. Mixed martial arts is a completely different thing, completely different worries in the sport. Just, it's not the same thing. It's that simple. The same thing if you grab a boxer and throw him into the octagon. Can an MMA fighter be more successful than a boxer by switching sides? Absolutely, because striking is something a mixed martial artist has to do, and there's people with boxing backgrounds, etc. However, I think the gimmicks for boxing have gotten too far, and I blame a lot of people. I blame McGregor, I blame Jake Paul, and of course I blame ourselves for tuning in, right? And I think there's a time and a place for them. I do agree with a gimmick fight and these big names who want to just join boxing and venture off into boxing to see what they could do and make a paycheck. We're going to watch. I like it. But it's taken over the sport. And then when you have someone like Francis Ngannou, and no shit on him, it takes a lot of courage, balls to do what he did, stepping away from MMA and a huge UFC contract to venture off into boxing and potentially not make the money he wanted to make, but he was successful in doing so. It takes a lot of courage and balls to get in there. He did great against Fury. But this is what occurs. This is the reality when we have a gimmick fight that's not staged, right? Because if you ask me, I think if most, if not all of Jake Paul's fights, there are certain clauses that really stop anyone from doing anything. He's handing out bread over there. It's not real. It's all for revenue and attention, and that's fine. He's successful in that. I made a video on that as well. But when we deal with two boxers who are actually boxing, when we're dealing with two guys who are going in there to hurt each other and, you know, have their hand raised and be victorious, this is what happens. This is the truth. Because Francis Ngannou had no reason to step into a ring with Anthony Joshua. Just like Anthony Joshua has no reasons to step into a cage with Francis Ngannou. It's the same thing. Do we like the idea? Do we like the revenue? Do we like the big names? Of course, I'm not saying otherwise. But this is what you get. Francis Ngannou was brutally knocked out in the second round. Brutally. I'm talking about this guy had a non-rebreather mask, getting oxygen, sitting down. It took forever to actually reveal the winner and come out and announce it because he was out cold. This man was dropped 3 times in like 4.5 minutes. 3 times. First 2, not so bad, just wobbled, but he gets up and he gets laid out. A brutal knockout. Brutal knockout. He's going to be a highlight for a while. And I know he posted some stuff about letting people down. Hey, man, he did great. I think we have to love Francis Ngannou for the path he took. But we also have to understand this is what happens. This is the reality. And if you ask me, this is great for boxing. This is the best thing to happen to boxing in a long time, because you lose legitimacy as a sport when there's continuous gimmicks, when there's these upsets. If you have a guy coming in from a different sport, holding in their own and finishing your professionals, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. The Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou fight was not a good look for them. But this is. And it's good for the fighters. It's good for the sport. It's even good for MMA. And I think it puts a pause on all the bullshit. We got Jake Paul and like creators becoming boxers and shit on the side. That's their own issue. But this, I think, is a win for boxing. Let me know what you think below. Be sure to subscribe, guys. I appreciate all the support like always. Have a good one.